Welcome to the 3Haunted podcast, where we bring you all things horror, supernatural, folklore, mythology, and all things that go bump in the night.
What's up, everybody? This is your co-host, Ashley Lunar Goddess, Gorilla Girl filmmaker and horror-loving cinephile. I'm just your average podcast-producing badass.
And I'm John Thomas. If it's haunted, cursed, or just plain weird, I'm into it. From paranormal encounters to horror movie deep dives, urban legends, cryptids, count me in.
I'm BJ Sewura, an aspiring paranormal musician who plays live for the dead because the living just doesn't want to hear me.
What's up, ghouls, gals, and metapals? In today's episode, we have special returning guest, Dominique Isis. Dominique is returning to 3Haunted to discuss the Red Road, the prophecy of the Eagle and Condor, and what it means to walk with real devotion in these times of need. Welcome back to 3Haunted, Dominique.
Yay! Thank you so much. I love being on here with you guys, truly. It's so special.
It is special. And I know, we use the word special guest and people think we're probably overusing it, but it's true. Every conversation that we get to have with people that come in and share their stories and the vulnerabilities, it is a special moment. And so.
Definitely.
And you are special.
No, I feel honored. Thank you so much, really. And it is unique because, for every person, I'm sure like so many people have so many facets of their life that they want to share with, and just coming on one time isn't enough. So
I'm glad you feel that way because we could have you on like endless times. So
amazing. I'll sign up for that any day.
You have a standing date in our calendar whenever you want it.
Yes. Good. I'm so glad.
And also, I appreciate that you're willing to come on. I know it's a lot later where you're at, and so appreciate that. The time zones can be fun to navigate, but I love your willingness to be on whatever time.
Yeah, basically, because it is something I have to work a lot in my schedule, especially with my clients that are all over the US. Being in South America, I'm driving multiple time zones, and I try to make it work for everyone as much as possible, especially my LA people. I mean, I'm 5 hours ahead, so sometimes I'm doing sessions at 1 a.m. for people that like really need it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How do you even navigate that? Because for me, I get 4 hours of sleep or wake up at the wrong time and I just feel zapped the rest of the day like a little zombie. How do you navigate that having clients all over the world?
Yeah, I mean, it is a little bit challenging, and sometimes, you make mistakes. And I've definitely gone on Zoom calls like an hour early, or my client is like, hello, where are you? And I'm like, oh no, I got the time zone wrong. And luckily, all my clients have lots of patience and they love me. So they're willing to work with me like I'm willing to work with them. And I think it's just also those that I know I'm going to be doing sessions for at 1 a.m. I kind of choose how many times I do that. And I just kind of set up my schedule to know, okay, I'm going to be getting this much amount of sleep. So then the next day, whatever my priorities are, I manage them and push them back so I can get a full night of sleep, or at least for the most part. It's not always perfect, but I just plan ahead for it. And I just make sure I'm not doing it all the time where I'm overextending and overextending, because then, the sessions are not going to be as good if I'm showing up exhausted.
Absolutely. That makes sense.
It's fun. I love it though. I love working with people all over the world. It honestly makes me so happy that I get to spread this work to as many people and bring my knowledge from, the North or the States to the South is also really special.
I have a big appreciation for people that work individually with clients in the aspects that you do. Because for me, even in just out in the non-metaphysical world, if you will, even though we're always in the metaphysical world, but not having that as the emphasis, sometimes you hear people's stories or you encounter their trauma and the emotions, and it can be a lot. It can make I don't know. I still haven't learned how to not internalize those things. So I have a great appreciation for people like yourself who actively take an interest and seat in helping people heal through their trauma and through those various strong emotions.
Yeah, for sure. And the work can get heavy, and there's the world out there that talks about doing things smarter and doing more group. When you're teaching in group settings, it's always going to be a little bit easier on the facilitator because there's multiple people, so your energy is being used differently. But there is something special about working individually with people as well, because it is needed, where someone can have that, person or therapist accompany them and tailor sessions according to their needs that are going to be different from other people, and also understanding cultural differences as well and financial differences, because what I charge in the US is not what I can charge in different countries over here, because it doesn't make sense to their economy and their lifestyle, right? Like what one session for me in the US would be is actually sometimes rent for someone in South America. So it's like also being able to work with those differences. And the topic we're kind of going to go into today, funny enough, actually really supports the work I do. So this is like how the Red Road supports my work a lot, is because that mountain time, which we're going to get into in a second, that path has really helped me understand my energy and has brought me so many tools. I cannot begin to explain how much it has helped my life in order to navigate the energetic load or the work that I do one-on-one individually. Like without this path, I don't know how all of this work would look like, because that's given me so much structure in order to learn like how to manage my energy so I'm not depleted afterwards or taking on a bunch of things, and also having just a lot of tools to know how to manage and navigate that. So it's definitely a responsibility, I feel.
Is there a limit to how many sessions you do like per day, so it doesn't wear you out, or does it just depend on what's the day? Like,
Yeah, no, that's a good question. It does depend on the day. I'm not booked out every single day, and I do, there are some days that are a little heavier than others. For example, I've done something on my social media that's called Tarot Tuesday. And it's a one card pool, right? For like any person that just wants like a little mini taste of like a quick card reading. Sometimes I get 15 people in that. And I also have like 4 or 5 people scheduled on my calendar. So it's like having to take breaks and take care of myself. And if I have to push people and say, hey, I'm going to get to your reading on Wednesday instead, everybody's always very understanding of that. But I try in my day-to-day not to work with more than 5 people, like tops 5 people energetically. The same, I think I would put the same number as like massages. When I used to own a massage business and I was a massage therapist, in like the corporate massage world, I was doing 7 massages a day. But when I went into my own clinical practice, I did not do more than 5, just because energetically it's a lot.
yeah.
Now, you mentioned the Red Road as being a part of your practice and your path, and you've been amazing and shared your path with us, as from when you started in Colorado to where you're at now. What exactly is the Red Road?
Yes, it's.
She's so excited.
I'm so excited, and I also am like, God, where do I start? Okay. I'll start with its origin. By the way, I also have received permission to give some specific details and names on this path, because we also want to take care of it and have that respect, right? So wanted to start off with that being said first. And the origin of like the Red Road, like essentially what is it? It's called the Camino Rojo, or the Red Road of the Heart. And the origin of this path comes from the Lakota tradition, so from Native Americans. And it is a Lakota tradition that was seen in the North, where this was preserved tradition and preserved knowledge at the time, before it has now spread to different parts of the world. But essentially, what is the path for? It's to become a better human. It's to become a better person. It's to live in harmony and equilibrium with all creation and all life, which is nature, animals, each other, the elements. And it's how do we live in harmony with everything that has life, that is life, and that gives us life, and living in what's called reciprocity, which is we give and we take. And when we take, we give. And it's just, balancing our life so that our ego doesn't dominate our day-to-day decisions, and we can use the red road to reflect on our life. And what they say that it gives us, well, our chief tells us, is that there's 4 pillars of consciousness on this path, which is humility, willpower, sincerity, and integrity. And that those are 4 key, I don't even know how to explain it. Let's see, like 4 keys or 4 ways of living and 4 ways of being that we should always have with every decision we make. That we should have sincerity in our relationships and in our work and with ourselves. That we should have the willpower to move forward in life and walk the path we're meant to walk. That we have humility in our life, in our relationships, in our work, and that we have integrity with what we do, what we say, what we walk, and how we integrate our teachings or how we relate to the world. So what's interesting about this path, though, is I mentioned it's a Lakota tradition, and I'm here in the South doing this path. So the main difference is that our chief of our lineage, it's called FSI, and in Spanish is FSI, which is Fuego Sagrado de Itzachitlatlan. Okay, that is the branch or organization. I'm going to call it an organization, for lack of a better word, to understand the branch of the red road that we come from, because this chief comes from the original Crow Dog lineage, as he was one of the spiritual sons, and he was given the blessing to bring vision quest and bring different parts of the red road to South America. So it is a fusion of everything he has learned in the north with the fusion of everything he has learned in the south, the Andean tradition. And he also lives in Mexico right now. He's in Mexico. So he has fused the red road into the way in which he received a vision during his own vision quest. He received a very clear vision that he was going to be a part of spreading this knowledge across the world, which is the Eagle and the Condor prophecy that was prophesied a long time ago, like hundreds of years ago. It was prophesied that the North and the South would come together. And in 1992 is when it started to become realized, when we started to see that this was going to happen, and it's the times we're living in right now. So that was like a lot of information, so please tell me if you have questions.
No, so to me, it sounds like the red road embodies different pillars that come together to help with way of life, way of living, to be our highest self. What does that look like in terms of practice or execution? Are there specific things that you do to make sure you're living the red road, or are they more internal questions that you ask yourself as you come across scenarios?
Yeah. So there is a, I guess I would call it a type of protocol, where when you enter the red road, there is the option to do what is called Vision Quest. And Vision Quest is exactly as it sounds. It's a quest in which you receive a vision for your life by being with yourself in silence and nature, with being fasted. And when I say fasted, it means no food, no water, no communication. And you're put right next to a little tree. So each person has a tree, and the tree represents the tree of life and your ancestors, and also what roots us into the earth, right? Like the tree represents a lot of things in this tradition. And I know that a lot of people get really, they have a lot of questions about the whole like no water thing, especially because people are like, well, you can't live without water, but you can, because I've already done it, lived it, experienced it. So, and I'm here, and I've proven that you can. Is it uncomfortable? Incredibly. And is there preparation before and after? Absolutely. And we have people in the camp that are medical doctors, nurses, psychologists, Chinese medicine professionals. Are I would say like I'm going to say our family, because to me it really is a family. Our family has a lot of healthcare professionals that come support Vision Quest and also come and participate. But basically, it's a 4-year commitment to the mountain. And in these 4 years, each year you have different days. And these are the 4 pillars I just talked about. Your 4 days is humility, your 7 days is willpower, your 9 days is sincerity, your 13 days on the mountain is integrity. Now, on the 7, 9, and 13, you receive water and you do receive fruits, but you are still in like a pretty fasted state. It's not that you don't receive anything. It's just that you receive enough to be comfortable, because it's an uncomfortable experience, but enough that your physiology and your body is going to do just fine on the mountain, but enough to keep you fasted so that you can really, in that state of being fasted, you can connect with everything around you. And it's just the most insane and profound experience I've ever had.
I feel like that would be an amazing thing to try. Like I have diabetes, and so it's I think about like, well, would I like do you have to make concessions for different like people that have stuff like that? Because I mean, obviously, if somebody's blood sugar is low, you have something, right? But can you still do the process with something like that?
Absolutely. So this is a good question. It all depends on your Vision Quest chief. For example, our chief, who is my taita, he doesn't allow you to do the mountain time if you have something, a medical concern that is very concerning, where fasting is not going to be healthy for you. However, if you are on medication, they do take you water every single day, a little bit with your medication. For those that don't have something really extreme, but they are on life-saving medication, like let's say someone is drinking a medicine for their heart, then that person is going to receive water basically every single day with their medications at the exact time it needs to be brought every single day according to schedule. And in our taita makes it he emphasizes we're not here to fight our ego. If something feels off, come down the mountain. If you don't feel well, if you're like something really, really strong is happening, he always tells us like, please don't try to fight and say, I will stay, which is what I did for my 4 days. I was like, I will not come down this mountain because I have worked so hard to do this. And I think you just need to find for yourself what is so uncomfortable that you want to come down versus I'm having a true medical issue. I feel very ill. I'm very dizzy. I don't think this is good for me. And if you're really having a hard time, he always says, come down. It's not worth putting your body through that. Then it takes away from the entire experience itself. But according to your condition is according to what he will allow or not. He also recommends always getting analysis and get checked before the mountain, come with a medical, note that lets him know what's happening, if you're on medication, if you're not, and just being really sincere and honest with what is happening with your body so that he can best support you, because it is putting like your hands in someone else's, like your life in someone else's hands.
If you're unable to complete one of the steps or one of the pillars of the Vision Quest, do you have to start over, or do you get to try that specific day set again?
Yeah, it's going at your own pace. There's no rush. So, for example, my husband did his 4 days. And then he went for his 7 last year, and he came down on day 1 because he for himself felt, I don't want to be here right now. And that was like he told me he received his vision literally within the first hour of being on the mountain. And the vision he received was that it was time to come down. So he came down, and basically we know that he, at some point, if he chooses to, will complete his 7 days, but he could wait, for example, 5 years, and in 5 years decide he wants to do his 7 days. So you don't start over, you just pick up from where you have left off, because it takes whatever amount of time it takes to integrate each level of consciousness into your everyday life, because you will see it appear in your every single day life throughout the year in between each time that you go up the mountain. So you could do the mountain time every single year for 4 years straight and complete your 4-year commitment. And it's really incredible to see, like, according to which door, and when I say door, I mean which key of consciousness and which direction you're walking up the mountain to, you will see your life reflect what you're doing. Like, for example, my first year was humility, and I cannot tell you how much my humility was tested that year. I mean, it was almost like a joke, like a cosmic universal joke of, and here we go again, and here we go again, and here we go again. And it's like life presents, the universe presents these situations for you to actually practice your humility, to actually practice your willpower, because it's one thing to think about humility in a theoretical way in your mind, and then there's another way to actually pass it through the body and live it and experience it in your day-to-day experiences.
So you did mention the prophecy of the eagle and condor, and that's the idea of the north and the south coming together. Is that right?
Yeah, because the eagle is seen in the north, it represents the north, and the condor represents the south. And the north, the eagle represents intellect and the mind, and observation and contemplation. And then the condor represents the golden heart. And for a long time, these traditions were not in agreement. There was, a lot that has happened. And now we're in a time where it's all about spreading, not occulting information anymore, but we're in a time, in an era where there are a lot of traditions and teachers that are now starting to open up and spread knowledge across the board because of the new times we're heading into, which the eagle and the condor coming together is the same, if not similar, prophecy of what's seen in other cultures, like the Mayan culture, and what people call, for example, the golden age or the golden time or the new earth. I'm sure you've heard this terminology before, the new earth, 5D, or, different people call it different things. We call it the time of the golden peace, which is that union between the condor and the eagle. And what the point of Vision Quest and Sundance and all these things that are the ways to practice what the Red Road is to be able to open up these traditions that used to only be practiced by those that lived it and their blood was from the lineage. And only men practiced Vision Quest, by the way. At one point, it was only men that went up the mountain, and only men that did what's called Sundance. It wasn't open to women until later down the road. But the whole point is to open this up to the world so that every single person from every direction can come and participate and learn and experience what this indigenous prophecy and wisdom is all about.
When did that change? Or is it like allowing people from all over, not just a particular culture, kind of join in on this?
When the agreements started to happen, when we started to see it spread and people were starting to come together, where it was realized was in 92, which is the year that I was born, actually, which is really interesting. But in 92 is when this was seen as, okay, this is needed for the world now. And it started to open up slowly from that date. Now, there's a really good documentary on our chief, if anybody is interested in just getting curious, getting to know who this person is, understanding their story a little bit, and actually what it took for them to make the agreements with the different chiefs of different nations to bring this forward, and the amount of work that it has taken this man to arrive to the point where he's at. The documentary, I don't know if it's on Netflix, I believe it's on YouTube. It's called Fire on the Mountain. And I recommend those that are really interested in what I'm saying to check it out, because it's really, really cool and it has a lot of really good info.
I know you've mentioned the north and the south, the eagle and the condor. Is there an east and a west?
Yes, so basically it would be that the north is just all of North America and the south is all of South America, and it was brought to the south and then opened up to all the directions, which is what the 4 cardinal directions represent: north, south, east, and west. So it was that these two needed to unite in their tribes, because the origin of this is Lakota, and then it got brought to the south. And in the south is when our chief opened it up to what is called all the directions, all people. And there are a lot of lineage songs that talk about all people being one, but that all are welcome. For example, the colors that represent Vision Quest are red, yellow, black, white, red, yellow, black, white. Yes, those 4. And so it's like the red represents anyone Native American of any tradition. The yellow represents all those that are of descent of like Asian countries and all of Asia. And then there are the white, which would be everything European. And then there's the black, which would represent everything from Africa and anybody of those colors. Basically, it is a union or a fusion of saying, hey, we are all these colors, actually. All of us in some sort of way have a mixture of European or white, or you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's not just somebody who's just, I only have European influence. If you have European influence, you're going to see a lot of things: Spanish, Italian, French, right? It's a fusion. And so when he chose these colors, what they represent is that every nation and all peoples are welcome, of all colors, no matter what, and that all of these colors represent us because we have all of these inside of us. So there is absolutely zero discrimination in this way of life, which is what I really love about it, because it is open to all. Because the whole point of this is that we are all from the earth. We're all like our chiefs always say, we're children of the earth. All of us are of the earth. And so if you are a child of the earth, you are welcome on this path, which is, it's open to all.
Has there been any, I guess the numbers, are there a lot of people from all over? Do you see a lot of people from Europe coming to do this, or mostly like North America, or where do you see it happening the most? Like the influence?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I actually see so many European people come from really all over when I've gone to these quests. I've met people from Mexico, from Nicaragua, from the Congo. We had somebody, we have people from Chile, from Argentina, from Cuba. I met one person from Cuba. I thought that was really awesome because I had not met anyone so far living over here in Argentina that is of Cuban descent like me. So that was really cool to have that, conversation with that person. There have been people from Spain, from Italy, from, in fact, I was just part of a sweat lodge recently, and there was a girl that came all the way from Ibiza to come and visit her parents and attend sweat lodge with us, which is another rites of passage, like Vision Quest, like Sundance. It's another rites of passage to guide the sweat lodges. And basically at all of these places, it's amazing how many people from all over I've gotten to meet. I have even met, I'm not even going to name these names, but I have met a few famous people. There's been a couple actors in there that I've met. I've even met a monk that came to Vision Quest. And yeah, it's really beautiful, and it's really amazing to meet people from all over, from different countries, and that speak different languages, and they'll come and participate in Vision Quest. And sometimes there is not a translator. I'm their English, me and a few other people that speak English. Usually we're the ones translating a lot in English for those that are coming from the States, but we have a few people from Germany too that come and participate. And we don't always have someone that can speak German, but I mean, they catch on pretty quickly. We do our best. We all communicate the best way we can. And it's been really cool, and it works out, and they always enjoy themselves. It's always a really good time when we get together for these big events.
So then, using the red path and the prophecy of the Eagle and Condor is now coming together, coming into fruition. How does this affect the next aspect of walking with devotion?
Yeah, so this whole path talks so much about how everything is Wonka, and this means everything is sacred, and everything we do is sacred. Every person, everything we eat, everything we do, there's sacredness in everything, and it's about respect and honoring it and understanding where it comes from. It's honoring its originality, not just in the tradition, but even in the food we eat. Like, our food is provided to us because it came from the earth. And so we respect and give thanks to the earth, because without the earth, we wouldn't be able to have the food that we get to make with our hands. And so this path of devotion, which also comes with commitment and dedication and discipline, a lot of discipline, because the discipline is also abstaining from certain foods and sexual activity so that you can preserve your energy, right? And make sure it's not shared in any way, and you can stay with that. The devotion really comes from, I feel, just respecting all life and honoring it for where it comes from, for what it provides us. And that is, when you think about if all of us in the world could live a little bit more like that, maybe we wouldn't be in such the state that we're in right now. We would be able to honor all people from all races and all places, and take care of ourselves and take care of each other. And I think this whole path of walking in devotion, where it's kind of headed in the future, I feel it is really about coming together and living, or if not, being part of community and not being so individual, which is something I've learned a lot in the South. That in the North, like I would say in the States, it's not the same energy. In the States, there's a lot of every man is out for themselves. I take care of me and my family, and I'll see my friend in 3 months, and what happens to you happens to you. There's more of that than there is in the South. In the South, everybody knows your business, everybody knows everybody, and everybody stops to help you for anything and everything. The whole point of community is we can lean on each other, and we've got each other's back. And I feel where a lot of this prophecy and this art is taking us is learning to live in oneness with the earth and appreciating what we have. And if we were to do that more, stop being at war with each other and with the planet and with the political system, is how can we just focus on our relationship and what we call being in right relationship with all things that are alive, with each other, our brothers and sisters, our family, and seeing the other person that maybe comes from Europe or the Congo as our brother or our sister. If we can see people in that kind of way and honor them, this is what this path, I feel, of devotion kind of gives us, is devotion to the earth, to everything that gives to us, and to ourselves, so that we can also be that way with everything we do. How it is on the inside is how it will reflect on the outside. So the relationship starts with you and Great Spirit first. That's first and foremost what we need to do. It's why we say this path makes you better, because it's your relationship with Great Spirit, and it's you with you. Because if you can't be humble with yourself, how can you be humble with another? If you can't be sincere with yourself, how can you truly be sincere with the other? And that's what I feel that the devotion is is like getting us to understand that it is our devotion to and the gratitude for everything that we have.
The deeper you go on this spiritual path and journey that you're on, what have you found has challenged you most? Whether it be the way of thinking or being, what's been the most challenging thing for you? If you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, I think the most challenging thing has been getting really honest with my patterns and I'm going to call it my shadow work, because there's no escape. You can't escape yourself. So there's been a part of me, I think, that thought I had done a lot of work, like a lot of inner work. And I still see in the ways I've abandoned myself and in the ways I've like ran away from reality or wanted to live more of like an illusion in certain things, like, oh, we'll just put that, in the way back burner and not look at that for a long time because I don't want to look at that. And going through this path, and it's not to say that I thought I had my stuff together, I just didn't realize how much comes undone and how you're just kind of like, you can't run. There's nowhere to run and hide. You are face to face with yourself, with your shadow, your inner demons, for lack of a better word, your inner demons. And it's been hard. It was hard. It was hard having to admit. It was hard seeing certain things about myself, my family, or ways I behaved that I had to get really honest about so that I could clean up. So I could clean it up in my life so that I could show up better for myself, my clients, my work, my relationships. And I still think to this day, after 3 years of almost being on this path, as I go up to my third year, it's like, it's amazing how spirit just doesn't let you hide. It really doesn't. They say that this path, this walk helps you empty yourself, because if you can empty yourself, then you can actually hear spirit move through you and come in and fill those parts of you. And then you become closer, that much closer to your essence, who you are, away from the noise of society and life and all the conditioning. I mean, you go to the mountain and there's no cell phones. You're not talking to anyone. There's nothing. You can't even eat. So you can't even hide behind your emotions. You can't eat your emotions and you can't hide your emotions with food. Think about it. When we're bored, what do? Let's go grab a beer. Let's go to the park and go to a bar. Let's go have dinner. Like, a lot of us, we use food to escape. We use food as pleasure to make us feel certain things when we're feeling sad or lonely. And I mean, it's pretty amazing when you take all of these things away. What you're left with is the truth. And that's hard. And it's been a process. I'm also really grateful for it because it's changed my life. So I'm like, thank you for emptying me. It's allowed me to see how much I actually have, how much I still hide. So that's been the part that's been really hard.
Well, and I'll say for us, or at least myself, in America, there's just a lot of eating, which is the bad foods, right? Not just eating in general, just putting bad things in your body, but also doom scrolling and all that kind of thing. So this is just bad stuff on top of bad stuff for entertainment's sake, just to ignore the reality of things going on, And yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And it would definitely, I feel like maybe for new people into this, that may be the initial struggle, right? Like the food and technology.
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. And I mean, we're so used to, even myself, on the scrolling or being on there as somebody who, like, basically, runs a business on social media. I feel like I'm on my phone quite a lot. And I'm like grateful I get to fast from technology and from emails and from having to talk to anyone. I mean, you even preserve your voice, which one does not realize how much we use our voice every day. And then when you preserve it, when you finally speak for like the first time, it sounds so weird hearing your own voice. You're like, whoa. Well, it's like it takes you a second to like come back to talking. And it's amazing because my first year doing this, I was really scared physically, like what's going to happen to me. I've had a history of anemia. I've had a history of thyroid stuff in my past. Like I was really scared of what this would do to me physically. I thought I would also be so like exhausted, like, oh, I'm going to pass out and probably faint. Like, why am I doing this again? You know, you question yourself a lot. And then you get there and the opposite happened to me. I had so much energy the first year that I didn't know what to do with myself after those 4 days. I was like revived. It was the most strange and amazing thing ever because your body's detoxing, because you're preserving your energy, because you're not doing anything other than staying in your area the entire time. And you can't leave your area. You have to make 365 prayer ties of tobacco, one for every day of the year. That's why we do 365 of the color that you're going up, which I think I explained it was red, yellow, black, white. And I'm on the black right now, which represents the great mystery. And it represents, it's 9 days on the mountain and 9 nights. And it represents sincerity. And I remember my first year though, after I was done with my 4 days, when I came down and I finally integrated back at camp, I remember one of the first things I like told one of my neighbors, one of my friends on the path, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I could run a marathon right now. I don't know what to do with myself. I've never felt so clear-minded and clear-headed and like, what do I do with all of this? And yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing how much how much better I felt on a physical level, let alone the spiritual aspect of what this is.
Do you have recommendations of ways that people can tackle facing their shadow self, reaching that darkest part of them? Because, or I don't even want to say the darkest, but the deepest shadows.
Yeah. Look, it's going to be uncomfortable. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. But you know what I can say is if you're willing, you just need to be willing. If you're willing to go there, if you're willing to look at it, and not force yourself either, because as somebody who is also studying a lot around somatic healing, which is a therapeutic tool and entire like study that I'm going through, because my goal is to bring in somatic tools and nervous system work into the path, into those I'm working with, because I feel it's very important when you do these kinds of extreme things. So I don't want to tell people like force yourself to see it, because really that is going to traumatize you. And we're not about forcing or pushing. We want to work with our innate capacity and also understand that our body also has an innate process, and it's also very intelligent, and it's also going to show us up to where we can handle. And I think that if you're just willing to sit with it and be with it and see it, even just a little bit, you're going to see that once you see it and once you're with it, it's actually not as bad as you think. It's like, this is the best metaphor. Have you had someone in your life that you're like, I need to put limits with that person? Oh man, I have to have a hard conversation with this person and put some boundaries because they didn't make me feel super good. You know, there was a boundary they crossed, and then your mind starts doing this whole thing of, oh my God, how are they going to take it? What am I going to say? And like, have you ever had just that kind of eat at you, and it's so much bigger in your head, but then you go and you talk to the person and you're like, hey, listen, can we have a conversation? And you say the thing and you get it off your chest, and then they actually receive you okay, and you realize, oh, like I can breathe. Why was I battling in my head like for days about that conversation, and everything's okay? Sometimes we make things so much bigger in our minds than what it is. And that's what I have to say about facing your shadow too, is we're so afraid of what we're going to find and what we hear on podcasts or on social media or on the news or from our coach or from our therapist. But when we actually just let go and we're with it and we're willing to see it, we realize like, okay, it's not that, it's uncomfortable, but it's not that bad. It's not going to kill me. It's going to help me grow. It's going to help me see things I have to look at if I'm willing to look at it to become better, more whole, more aware, more conscious, more present.
There's a lot of things that I'm just thinking about as far as just the process of going there, or even is there a way you can do it from here? Like I think about going camping. I feel like that's for me, like being out in nature, that you're away from everything else. That's kind of that, and I feel a rush of energy when I come back home, like I'm letting go of everything and refreshed. And I feel like maybe that's like just a small piece of something that we're tapping into, that you guys go full steam ahead into it. It's like does the setting matter, is what I'm asking.
That's a good question. I think in order to do our shadow work, I think there's so many avenues and paths and ways. I don't think there's only one way or that Vision Quest is the way, but it is a way and a very profound one, based off of a lot of tradition and ceremonial type of practices and rituals that make it a rite of passage, which is a whole different experience than just going into nature on your own. Like, the two can't really be compared because it's so unique and so different. But I do feel that you can start tackling, or like the question of how do you prepare, what are the tools, what can you do? I think there are a lot of ways to tapping into a similar aspect of ourselves, whether that's through a specific therapy or tool that you find that really helps you see that and go there and work on it, and going out in nature as well and spending time and just listening. I think that one of the best practices for something like this experience I did, I always recommend that people just observe more and practice silence. Practice more silence, practice being present, practice observing, practice listening. And I don't mean hearing, because hearing and listening are two very different things. Because you could hear someone and not actually truly listen to them. And I think it's the same thing with nature. Are you hearing it or are you listening? And those kinds of experiences, I feel, do help you tap into those spaces that Vision Quest gives you. It's just Vision Quest is on a completely different level. But listen, I went in not knowing what the heck I was getting myself into. I mean, it's just wild. Like, it was talked to me once, and then I got to South America and I met the chief coming here. Met the chief within a couple months of being here is the wildest thing. I wasn't even looking for this. This is not something I searched for, looked for, asked for. Like, it's insane how my life ended up here. But I met this person that is our, Vision Quest chief, and they told me about this experience of the mountain and what it means. And I was like, wow, that is so beautiful and profound. And I feel so connected to the things that I love, plants and the earth. And I'm, somebody who really appreciates the earth and plants and medicine in general. I was like, wow, this is a beautiful medicine for people. And I love meditation. I had done what's called Vipassana meditation before this, and I was studying that lineage, the Buddhist path, the Eightfold Path. And it felt like so aligned with just who I am. And he talked about it once with me, and I said, how do I sign up for this, or how do I participate? And I got invited, and then I went and did my 4 days with no practice of fasting, nothing. I ate well. I made sure I drank a lot of water. I did the basics, hydration. I worked on, getting my mind prepared a little bit for what this is going to be. But there wasn't a whole lot of preparation because I just arrived, and I did my first year and I experienced it myself, and I was like, oh my God. And after I did it, the first year, I was like, yeah, okay, I could do 7 days, because I didn't know if I was going to even do my second year. I was like, let me just do the first one and we'll kind of see how it goes and what happens and if this is for me. And when I did my 4 days, I was like, okay, I can see how you do 7. Okay, I can do this. And then I finished my 7 last year and I said, okay, I can see how you could do 9, and I'm going up for my 9 now. In 3 weeks, I'm going to be on the mountain for my 9 days.
That's exciting, and I would be terrified.
Yes, I was talking to a friend yesterday about it, because they asked me, how are you feeling for your 9 days? And I said, I feel like I just want to be on the mountain tomorrow. That put me on the mountain. I don't want to think about it anymore. And I'm also so scared and nervous, and I don't want it to come. So it's like this weird dual feeling of both things existing at once, of, oh man, I don't want to go. Why am I doing this again? To just, I want to be there already. Just put me there. I don't want to think anymore. I just want to be in my little space by my tree and take my 9-day period of rest. So, yeah.
Are the sweat lodges done as a ceremonial part of this, almost like a companion, or is it separate from the Vision Quest practices and the path that you're on?
I'm thinking of what I'm allowed to say. There's for those that want more info, there are books. There are books written by chiefs, and I will definitely give a recommendation of some books I've read. One is called the 7 Rites of the 7 Rites. I think the seven sacred rites. The 7 sacred rites. That's what it's called. The 7 sacred rites, and it's about the sacred pipe that's part of this path, which is called a chanupa. And this was written by a chief, Black Elk. And if you're interested, I can look it up on my phone exactly what the name is. I read it not too long ago, and I thought it was really amazing because it's very easily digestible. Like basically any person can read it and understand it well. And it goes into deep detail as to what Vision Quest is, what the sacred peace pipe represents, what Sweat Lodge is, how it's ran, what it's for, every single step, and Sundance, and basically all what the 7 rites would be on this path of like the protocol of how to use your sacred peace pipe, which is a pipe that is known. It's so much more than just a sacred peace pipe, and I know this, and I know that there are no English words that I can truly do right by explaining what this is, but it is to pray for world peace. As a holder of something like this, it means that you are praying for humanity. It's in the tradition of great, massive responsibility where the elders all have one, and they only bring out their sacred peace pipe for sacred ceremony, or when there's going to be a very important prayer for the world or for another person. But that book will go into detail. And what I have to say about the Sweat Lodge is, yes, Sweat Lodge is part of the sacred rites of passage, and it's done and used as a purifier for us mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. That is done to pray for our lives, to pray for our community, to purify us. And there are specific ways in which Sweat Lodge is used for Sundance, used for Vision Quest. And then Sweat Lodges, if anybody has heard of like a Sweat Lodge for a community, I'm hosting a Sweat Lodge for my community. For those that want to participate, we're going to pray for our well-being. Then when you go and enter that Sweat Lodge, it's going to be a little bit different than the ones that we do for Vision Quest and Sundance, because they just have a different purpose. But it is a purifier. That is its main purpose.
You brought up that there's people from all over the world that are coming to participate in these ceremonies and Vision Quests. And it sounds like, rightfully so, it is a journey and a process, and that is just one part of it. So are they starting their process wherever they're originating from and then coming just for that piece? Or do they come to start their journey and go through that where you're at, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I'm understanding, Lucy. So there are these quests all over the world, right? There's one in Ibiza from our lineage, by the way. I need to also clarify that because the ones in other places may be a little bit different. They may look a little bit different. But I know that there are vision quests all over the States. There is vision quest in Mexico. There's some in Europe, Ibiza. There's in Costa Rica, I believe. There's one in Ecuador, in Chile, here in Argentina. It's kind of all over the place, and I think it just depends on who you're walking with. One, for me, I think that's the most important, because the person I'm walking with, who's going to be my chief of vision quest, I have to absolutely trust this person with my life. And I absolutely do. So I choose this person to do my 4 years with. So I don't go to like 1 year here and then 1 year in Ecuador and then 1 year in Chile. But you can do that. You can. That is totally allowed. You could do one vision quest in Chile your first year, and then your second year you can go to Ecuador, because maybe that's like where it's available to you or the closest to you. You could choose to do it that way. I personally choose to just do my 4 in Argentina, because it's here. It's where I live right now. It's where my relationships are. It's where I'm building my life. So I go to the ones here, and then I also support other vision quests in other countries. So people, to go to your question, is people come from all over to either come and support or go and actually go through the experience of going up the mountain. There's both. You don't actually have to come to Vision Quest and do your days on the mountain. You can come and support the event and the people on the mountain, which is a totally different experience. And I've done both. And wow, they're both really beautiful and profound in their own ways. But yeah, so according to where you're coming from is according to maybe who you've chosen to walk with, maybe where you were invited, maybe the area or place that's closest to you. And a lot of times people will come and support first to get to know what this is all about and what it's like before they actually enter their commitment of their 4 years.
Are they able to access that because they are walking, or because they are an extension of that specific lineage? Or I guess, how are they finding that Vision Quest center or community?
I really feel when I've talked to people and I've asked them, like, oh wow, you've come from Ibiza to over here. How did you hear about our Taita or our chief? And then a lot of responses I hear is, someone invited me, or I saw a podcast on this person's profile, this person talking about some vision quest, some chief, and they said that he lives in Mexico, and I looked him up, and then I joined his community, and then I met this girl, and then this girl invited me, and then it just goes from there. So I think spirit has its way of what I feel we say in Spanish, tejiendo, which is like when we bring things to weaving is the word. So I think spirit truly weaves us all together somehow, because it's like crazy connection of dots. Like I remember this one time I was at a vision quest in Paraguay. Oh man, and my Taita, he's very well known. And I had this girl came up to me and she was like, can I take a picture of you, with you and the Taita? And I was like, sure. And so I sure, yeah. So we took a picture, all 3 of us together, and she's like, oh my God, thank you so much. I've been following you for so long. And she was talking to my Taita, and I was like, and my Taita was like, oh, the most humble, sweet man, where he's like, oh, thank you. He's like, how did you hear about me? And then she, was like, I've been following you on Instagram. And he doesn't even manage his own Instagram page. It's just hilarious. It's hilarious because he has no idea what's happening. And she's like, I'm such a fan, and yeah, I'm just so happy to be here because I've watched your videos, some of the talks you've done on YouTube, the interviews you've done, and that's truly how people arrive. They come from all over. They hear it because somebody said, because she said, because something was shared, because of some video, some podcast, some person, some practitioner, some facilitator, some community. It's really amazing how much it has spread.
I would love to say, as much as we talk about like information overload and doom scrolling and stuff like that, the internet and social media really can serve a purpose. And I love that Spirit's like, let's use it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like it's something I always I question it all the time, and it's like always something in my own personal life that I'm like, do I share this? Should this be more like personal thing that I should maybe just write through WhatsApp? Is this something I should share? Should I share this? But then how will people find me? And it's kind of a little bit of a battle sometimes to know, like, am I sharing too much? Is this like, this is so sacred? Should I post a picture of? And I'm always the person I always ask a lot of questions, and my tata always laughs at me because he's like, well, it's your Instagram. I said, yeah, I know, but I have to ask, like, what if I post something? And he always tells me, like, no, we appreciate that you ask, like, that you always ask. And that's what I do. I always ask. I always ask the lineage holders, like, where is the boundary? And I think, and this is very personal, what I'm about to say is how I feel about it and how our leader feels about it. Him and I are very aligned, which is why I walk with him. I walk with him because we're very much aligned in our thoughts. So this is not to say that how other people do it is incorrect. This is just the way that we feel is best. Is that we make sure that we just feel like what happens in ceremony is so sacred and so important to preserve, and it's a respect for the spirits and for the people's vulnerability and people's personal work. So I know that there are a lot of Instagram pages out there in medicine communities or in ceremonies where like the whole process is filmed, or like people drinking certain plants is filmed and the process of healing is filmed, and we really don't do that. We really recommend and don't like when that happens, because there is a certain level of like respect and needing to keep things personal. I think privacy is important. So it's like hard because sometimes I don't know what to pose, and I think it always comes down to, okay, let's be in integrity. Let's always ask. Let's respect the lineage. Let's understand that social media can be such a great place to find practitioners and people in ceremonies, but where's the boundary? And I think for us, where our boundary is we post the fire, and we'll post basic photos of vision quests. We'll post pictures of us all singing. We'll post things that we eat, but everything that happens like within ceremonial context does not get shared. We don't share those things. And I think it's important to do that. Honestly, I just think there has to be some level of privacy, of boundary with how much we share, what we share.
Well, you're being inclusive. Like, you are talking about all these people all around the world that you guys are inviting in to participate, with sincerity and humility. They're being invited to participate in these spaces. So it's not like you're blocking the world out. It's just maintaining the respect for that moment, because it is sacred. If it wasn't, you wouldn't be doing it. It wouldn't be done in ceremony and rituals. So I get that. I get that you're respecting that moment and that sacred nature. And it's not, in my opinion, it's not for entertainment value. So the idea of like, let's put the camera on it and then post it everywhere. Like, at some point there is a fine line between entertainment and educational, and sometimes it can get blurred, right? And so I love that you are maintaining that respect for what's happening within that space. You're not saying stay out of the space. It's just, here's our sacred space. If you want to come and respect that space and be a part of it with us, let's talk. But it's still that sacred space.
Yeah, I agree. I like the fact that you guys keep sacred stuff sacred and, share what you can, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It can blur the lines quickly, but I mean, think about it. It's like, let's say you were in your therapy session, like with your therapist or psychologist, and like you're, I don't know, a part of something you share very vulnerably. It's just like put on social media for everybody to see you cry in your session. I'm like, what? No, why? Like that could be really uncomfortable. And at some of these events, we always have a photographer, by the way, because we also feel it's important to document the years that this has grown, because it's really beautiful to go back and be like, wow, we had 200 people, for example, at Vision Quest. At one of them, we had like over 200 people. I've seen over 300 to 400 people at these events. And it's like, wow, it's incredible how much this has spread. And it's, I think, beautiful to document it. But of course, like, we don't document the things I just talked about. And there's also a disclosure agreement of, you know, are you comfortable with being part of any kind of photo or video? And this is just for like the records of the organization to keep. So for it to be like, wow, how beautiful, like to be able to go back at these photos and say, wow, look at all these years of all these beautiful moments that we also got to spend together.
I think to your point too about it's like putting a camera in therapy, depending on how intense that healing is in that moment with that individual or individuals, when someone pulls out a camera on you, you're automatically going to close. It's not going to be as opening and healing because it's like, oh, I'm being watched. I'm under the, and you were suddenly a little bit more self-conscious and self-aware, and we're not fully in that moment. And so to have that space again being treated sacred in those very private healing moments, I imagine that's not only respected by those participating, but especially the person that is going through the healing, because they can completely just open and let spirit move through them.
Absolutely. That's exactly what happens. So that's why I think it's so important to not document those really vulnerable moments, because there's something really unique happening to that person. And if they're in the sacred space to be able to open themselves up and to share and to be in that moment, it's like if they, like you said, clench or close up, then it really takes away from their experience and their process of what they're going through. So I personally do have a little bit of this, feeling when I do see a lot being shared through specific communities of plant medicine through the social media lens, that it takes me off a little bit. When I see it, I'm just like, well, it is their personal choice, but I just think that we are getting away from the whole point of what this is for. And there's a way to share your medicine without having to show it all.
Yeah, and there could be ego involved as well once you have a camera involved, right? Like, I don't know if I mean, that's not why they're there, but like I could see people, trying to be like, oh yeah, look at my progress, look at this, and trying to, I don't know, maybe act out a little bit more when they know they're on camera rather than just being real with it. I don't know if that happens, but I could see people doing stuff like that.
Yeah, and there's, competition with some of those places, and it's a bit all strange to me when I do see it, just because I also have understood and learned it a completely different way. And I think I've come on here before to talk about how it's become so capitalized and spread everywhere, and you see it 24/7 now. It's like a lot of the elders, my elders, like what I hear in their conversations is that they're so happy that the wisdom is being spread and that we're going back to ancient knowledge and technologies and ways of like living and being, but that there's like that dark side that comes with it too, which is the capitalization of it, the way that it's like spread everywhere, and it's about people making money more than it is. And there's like a lot of harm within the community, as well, with practitioners that are not actually prepared to be offering these kinds of ceremonies. Like, this is to the red road. The whole point of why you go through this is because you don't just go do like 3 months in the jungle and then go and start teaching things that you learned there. This path teaches you about how it's a lifelong commitment, and until you've done like 10 years on this path, which is about almost 10 years, then you go and can start learning about these plant medicines and can start facilitating ceremonies. That's what the Red Road does. It prepares you to have humility, willpower, sincerity, integrity, so that when you move forward, and let's say you are somebody that is wanting to learn and facilitate these kinds of ceremonies, that you've done all of this work and you've spent all these years getting to know you and working on yourself and working on your energy and understanding that what this is all about, then you go and can facilitate some sort of ceremonial space. But for example, in the protocol within our lineage, you can't do anything until you have finished the protocol. So it's at least almost 8 to 10 years of practice, of living this way, of integrating everything you're learning, before you actually step into any type of leadership role. And I think that that's amazing. It should be that way. It's like if a surgeon is about to do surgery on you and they've only been through school for a year, and you're going to let someone open your skull up for 1 year of being in school. I don't think so.
We want that doctorate.
Yeah, exactly. And so my elder says, this is our, I'll say it in Spanish because it comes out really beautiful. He always says, esta es nuestra escuelita, which means this is our little university. This is our university, and this is how we learn how to be better humans through this university before we are given any kind of blessing or right or opening to facilitate anything, whether you feel a deep call to facilitate vision quests in the future, whether you feel a deep call to facilitate sweat lodges in the future, where you feel a deep spiritual call to facilitate some sort of ceremonial work with the plant. This road is what is helping you build all the pillars and build yourself in a way that is in integrity as much as possible. You go through this little school, as he calls it, before you receive the ability to do anything on it. and I think that is it's just important, I feel, to have these I don't want to call them rules, but they are important, I feel, to follow, because then you have what we see in the world where you go for a year to the jungle and then you're facilitating ceremonies and people are getting hurt.
You mentioned that you worry about you put too much out on social media, but I actually love that you are constantly, or not constantly, that you're consistently putting information out, especially on Instagram. I see a lot of your stuff hit my algorithm. I have trained my algorithm to only show me things that are good for me, by the way. I know people get disheartened with the doom scrolling and what gets pumped onto their feed, but I will say, have heart. Train your feed. You can train all of your different social medias. It just takes a moment to see only what you want to see. So for me, my Instagram, I have thoroughly trained to show me only things that can help versus the things that make me feel drained or disheartened. And you too can do that all on your own. But with that said, I see a whole lot of Dominique, and I love it because you do put out a lot of tips and suggestions, and you make it accessible. You make healing accessible and self-awareness accessible for those that maybe can't go to Argentina or can't go to something nearby. You put a lot of empowerment and resources at the fingertips of people, and I firmly believe that those who need to see it absolutely do.
Yeah, I completely trust that. I think that I have something written in my bio around how, like, I try to make spirituality practical. I try to, all my work, for it to come down in a way that's very embodied, practical, to earth, makes sense. I mean, I'm a Virgo, so I feel like I naturally am kind of that way. Is I'm a philosopher at heart, though, for sure. Like, the esoteric stuff, just wow, it could take my mind into so many crazy places of the conversations and ideas and philosophies out there. But I think, like, my mission, one of my missions is to, how do I ground and bring the esoteric into earth as much as possible so that it is accessible to people, so that more people can come into this, learn about it, and that it's in a way that doesn't fracture somebody or overwhelm them, or they don't know where to start, or they don't understand it. I always try to use language that matches my audience as much as possible, whoever I'm talking to. So
But you do it every time you come on this podcast. You speak to us in a way that at least I can only speak for myself, but I can understand it. It makes sense to me, and it translates in a way where I'm not like, what? It's truly, I know that's, it's true. I feel like sometimes, there is so much information out there. You read something and then you read it 10 more times and you're like, I still not quite sure what's being said. But then we have people like you come on and explain something in a way that really does translate and get through to those that aren't on the path, right? That aren't currently on the red road or taking part in the vision quest, but you really do inspire in a way where it's like, I do want to do that shadow work. I can face it and it's gonna hurt, but I can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for saying that. And yeah, that is, it's hard. It's some of these concepts too, like it's hard. People get lost in it a lot, or they don't know who to trust. Like you said, there's so much info in the world that it's like, well, why should I trust this lady on this podcast right now from California over here in Argentina talking to me about the red road? Yeah, discernment. I think I just wrote a newsletter on this. I have a bi-weekly newsletter that I don't know if you're actually on it, Ashley, but I do have a bi-weekly newsletter that is like a peek into my world. It's a little lens inside my journey, and I share tips and tricks and rituals, different things with the lunar calendar, my path, my walk, what I've experienced, something in my life I'm going through that could maybe resonate with other people, and how I found a solution out of it or what I learned through it. And so this last newsletter I wrote I think it was called Discernment is the Medicine. And it literally talks about this. It's like, in a world of so many things that you're seeing and reels and funny things, it's like, how do you know what the heck to trust? What is real? What is not? They tell me that this diet is right for me, and then this person tells me that I have parasites, but then this person tells me that you don't kill parasites and that this is all false. And then you have this person that tells me how to detox and how to eat. And everybody says how you eat is different, and then you're like 100 people in, and you're just like, I don't even know how to eat anymore because 100 different people have 100 different opinions. And yeah, it's wild. And I feel it's the same thing in the spiritual space. So this last newsletter was all about discernment, how to practice that a lot right now. A lot, as much as possible.
And that's going to be a handy tool. We are taking I don't know how else to say it other than we are evolving into the next step, for better or worse, where what we consume and what we see is going to be a lot less trustworthy. It's a lot more manufactured, and I just, discernment is going to be our best friend.
100% is. and yeah, and like, how do we, I think I had this conversation with someone today, with a client of mine today, is how to keep our minds from being easily manipulated. How do we do that? What does that look like? What does that even mean, to not be susceptible to manipulation? Yeah, it's knowing yourself. It's knowing thyself. It's called sovereignty, having sovereignty over your energy, over what is good for you, and coming up with your own ideas and listening to your intuition, what feels right to you, and not because this person said this. And this is something I shared in a ceremony, in a medicine ceremony, actually, in front of our lovely community. Was one of the things that I said was, my God, how many voices in our head do we have? If we think about it, like, we hear our mom in the background saying things, our dad, our grandma, maybe our teacher, our brother. Like, how many voices do we have in our head, and which one is ours? And how do we find which one is ours versus the noise and the people, teachers, parents we have that tell us how to live our life, or what's good for us, what's not good for us? Because, well, when we're little, we depend a lot on our parents, right? Our parents tell us, don't touch that, don't eat that, wear this. They take care of us until we start to get to an age where we can, hopefully start doing those things a little bit more ourselves, right? We want to pick our outfit, maybe these colors and these shoes, and little by little, but for so much of our time, we depended on our parents. And that doesn't mean that we can't lean on our parents, our family, and our friends. Absolutely, we need pillars, we need community, but how much of us are easily manipulated by things we see, hear on the news, and all the fear mongering there's out there, and then everybody else is in fear, and then we're eating up the news, and then we're like don't know what our own idea is, and I think what's so important in this time, other than discernment, is sovereignty, is making choices and finding out like which is your voice. If you can silence the rest, can you hear yours? And essentially Vision Quest gives you that. Vision Quest has been one of the things that I've done that has helped me find what my voice is. Truly what my voice is.
Now, for those that want to be a part of it, like get your newsletter and find out more about you, where can they find more?
This is going to be 100% on my Instagram. I am on my Instagram. Mostly I post there. I know everyone's a TikTok user these days, and I have not been able to move to TikTok. So I am actually going to be starting a YouTube channel. This is one of the projects I'm working on, to start my own channel and, have it grow little by little. But for now, my Instagram, you can send me a DM, my newsletter, my website, my services are all on my social media page.
Amazing. And what is your Instagram handle?
It is Dominique. It's actually _Dominique_Isis. But if you just type in Dominique Isis, it should pop up.
And for our listeners, if you are just having trouble finding it, go to 3Haunted on the Instagram, look at who we're following. She's right there. We absolutely follow Dominique. So
yes, amazing.
Guys, do we have any final thoughts before we wrap this amazing episode up with Dominique?
Just thank you for coming on again. Like every time you come on, you give us such like knowledge, but also it's like Ashley said, it's easy for us to digest, and it's comforting in a lot of ways. And it doesn't feel like you're trying to like, you're never talking down to us. There's nothing like that. It's always just like, these are my experiences. This is how you can do it. Like if this doesn't work for you, then you can try this. Like there's an ease that you go about with what you do. And that's what I appreciate for sure.
Thank you. That is a huge compliment. It means a lot to me.
I agree. Every time you come on, my brain hurts, but it also hurts in a good way. I process it later and I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Or like even after the episode airs, I'll go back and listen to it again. And I'm like, okay, yep, I get it now for sure. I also just want to remind all of our listeners, if you like this episode, if you found this one interesting, go back and listen to all the other ones with Dominique, because you're going to learn something new about yourself, about anything and everything. So please check it out.
Every conversation with Dominique is powerful, empowering, but also moving. So truly, from my heart, appreciate that you are willing to join us and share your journey with us, because through you and through your learning, we're also learning. And so it is a gift.
Thank you. Thank you. I love sharing with others. And if something that I share can impact someone, then I feel that I've done exactly what I need to do.
And best of amazing experience. I don't want to say luck, because luck has nothing to do with it. But on your 9-day quest, we are absolutely rooting for you. I'm manifesting. It's going to be amazing. You're going to come back down the mountain with the zoomies because you're so reset.
I'm going to come down with the zoomies and my sacred peace pipe. I'm going to be so excited.
Yes. That's going to be the title of the book, The Zoomies and the Sacred Peace Pipe. But
fasting on the mountain with Dominique, zoomies and the peace pipe.
I love it.
Oh, thank you guys so much. It's been a privilege. It's been an honor. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring, for wanting to listen, for asking all the questions you guys do, and for giving me the opportunity to share these experiences.
Absolutely. All right, BJ Segura, do you want to bring us home?
Absolutely. Again, thank you for coming on. I love that we did this live, and I hope a lot of people got to be able to, tune in here and there just to be able to experience what we experience. And that's part of the fun of this. We get to do it a couple of different ways, but we'll always post it later on so you guys can enjoy it later as well. But thank you for tuning in to this episode of 3Haunted Podcasts with your hosts. I'm BJ Segura.
I am Ashley Lunar Goddess.
I'm John Thomas.
If you have any questions, comments, or episode suggestions, please feel free to email us at 3hauntedpodcast@gmail.com. If you haven't done so already, please like, follow, and subscribe to all of our social media. You don't want to miss our amazing guests like Dominique.
And don't forget to check out 3hauntedpodcast.com, where you'll find all of our past and current season episodes, as well as guest information and all kinds of awesome 3 Haunted merch.
Until next time.